Hey everybody, guess what? I'm disrupting the network marketing, or also known as the multi-level marketing industry as well. ATS Network. It is the brand newest multi-level marketing company that's getting so much media attention and breaking records all over the world. Why? I'll give you 6 reasons why. For one, it's free to join. That's right. If you want to make money with us, you don't have to pay a dime to join us. Number two, there's no auto ship. That means there's nothing that I'm charging you, and there's also no customer volume requirement. That means you don't have to order $199 worth of a product to get this, whatever, right? If you want all your residual income, it costs you nothing per month, whether it be auto ship or customer volume requirements for you to get in here. Number three, you don't have to pay monthly for your website. That's right. No $24.95 a month or all this stuff like that. Number four, there's no obligation or any incentive for you to recruit anyone. Now, I probably should have led with that. Let me say that again. I have the only network marketing company in the world in which you don't have to go out and get three to get three, get three, get three, and all that stuff like that. No recruitment whatsoever. Your mom, your grandmother, or the lady next door can do this. Number five, you never have to get promoted or recruit anyone to get the highest level of residual income. Since I don't have distributors and since I don't require you to recruit anyone, guess what? The moment you come in, you can get top level residual income. And finally, you only have to be an active customer to make money with the company. Check out the show notes. Probably the first link. Antonio T. Smith Jr. If you want to be one of the 100,000 millionaires that I want to create, this is where you should be. ATS Network. Link is in the show notes. Love you. You can plant better. You can dominate. Welcome to the Secret to Success podcast. My entire goal with this podcast is to give you value. That is it. I am not interested in you buying from me. If you want to, you can, but that is not the goal here. I do want you to go to the show notes for people that I interview, because I do want you to buy from them or at least follow them. But I'm telling you, I am on a mission to create 100,000 millionaires. This podcast is part of that. Do yourself a favor and get everything that you deserve. Period. Point blank. I want you to get that in this podcast, whether it be keynotes from me or interviews from millionaires, billionaires. It doesn't matter, because we can't teach you anything you don't already know. You just forgot because the world made you forget. I love you. You got this. You're going to get this. This is your moment. This is you. Take notes. Listen to me on your commute. I don't care what you do, but this is yours. I do this for you. Like, if you're on a different platform, share it. Subscribe to it. Share this, because there's not many people out here doing this here. Got this.
Another great interview, ladies and gentlemen. You know who I am, Secret to Success podcast host. Don't forget that the Secret to Success Law of Attraction is out. You can find that link in the description. I also have a most fantastic guest. I must admit to you, I've been researching him for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I love what he's doing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a crappy introduction, because I want him to have his own thunder and give a fantastic introduction. But Mr. Brad Blazar, he's on Twitter, Instagram. You can find him on there. One of my favorite things that he's doing is he has Learn to Soar LLC. We're definitely going to get into that. But here's what's most important. He's a fantastic guy. He loves to give value, and he's one of the people that you can follow his content and actually learn from him. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Brad. Brad, why don't you take us away? Tell us something about you.
Boy, I love that introduction. Fantastic. Well, good morning, everybody. I refer to myself as a lifestyle architect and a fulfillionaire. It's great to have wealth and money, but I like the other things that come along with that. So I actually stole that term fulfillionaire from my good friend and coach, Rock Thomas, who I'll be with next week out in Arizona. But I am so excited to be here with you this morning.
Man, that sounds awesome. So let's just get right into it. Let's start off with Fulfillionaire. Who would be your – actually, let's approach this from two different ways. What does a Fulfillionaire look like now, and what does a Fulfillionaire start off looking like when no one knows they're a Fulfillionaire?
That's a great question. You know, for those of you out there that have seen the movie Jerry Maguire, when you remember Raj talking to Jerry and saying, man, I want the Quan, the word Fulfillionaire really transcends wealth and transcends just having success and money, because I'll tell you, I've met so many people that have lots of money and they're just miserable as hell. They just don't have the happiness and the balance in their life. And so one of the things that I've learned in my journey of self-discovery and, of course, reading and learning from others, it was really through Stephen Covey's work, where he talks about having balance in your life and really focusing on 4 key areas. And I try to work on these 4 areas with my mentees and the people that we work with in our coaching and training program. And that is, you know, number 1, of course, your level of physical fitness. I believe there's a definite connection between the mind and the body. And so you need to set aside time to be fit. The other, of course, is your spiritual connection, the relationship you have with God. And, you know, I certainly respect the fact there's plenty of atheists and agnostics out there. And if that's your choice, that's great. But hopefully you have a chance to meditate and at least believe that there's a special place out there that you can look to for guidance and help. The third is what I call your emotional relationship with your spouse and your family. And then the last is your societal. That's the relationship you have with your business connections, your friends. I believe that business is nothing more than the positive exchange of energy between 2 people, and that we tend to do business with people that have similar beliefs using the natural law of attraction. And so, you know, that's what I believe the word Fulfillionaire describes. It's having a fulfilling life that not only has the monetary rewards and success of being an entrepreneur, but those other 3 things where you're really just burning on all cylinders, man.
Man, that sounds fantastic. Sounds like you put some thought into that before.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the greatest thing about it is that for people that are just starting out or just starting a business that don't have that yet, but that certainly are desiring of that, the thing you have to realize is that you have to basically surround yourself with people that are going to help you grow. And one of the things I explain to folks is that you have to basically turn your back and try to walk away from toxic relationships, because those toxic relationships and the people around you that aren't going to support you and nurture you and mentor you, that really want to see you be successful, are just not people worth spending time with. And so, you know, as an entrepreneur, just realize that you need to surround yourself with positivity.
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. So let's do this here. It's 2010, and it's 2008. Antonio T. Smith Jr. is a freaking loser, just an absolute loser. Now, I've got money. That doesn't mean I'm not a loser. I'm an absolute loser. I'm miserable. I'm making $50,000 a year plus commission. I have a $577 a month car note because, you know, hey, I'm making $50,000 a year plus commission. I have to look like it, right? Come on, man, right?
Fake it till you make it, buddy.
That's it, right? I'm driving a burnt orange, UT orange Nissan 350Z. I'm going through Sam Houston Tollway in Houston, Texas. I'm spending $40 every 3 days doing that because, come on, I got to have an easy tag because, poor people use cash. And I'm absolutely miserable. And then September 12th happens. I lose my job because of September 10th happens. I lose my job because September 10th, 2008. So I lose my job because there's this thing called a recession hitting that no one knows is coming, and then it comes. And then 2 days later, Hurricane Ike comes through, and I lose every freaking thing. And now I'm standing outside of FEMA lines. I got to get outside at 3 a.m. It's freaking cold. And it warms up because that's Texas by 7 a.m. So now it starts off at 60 degrees. Now it's 100 degrees by 7 a.m. My girlfriend is 8 months pregnant with my soon-to-be oldest son. He's 11 now. His birthday is actually today. And literally, I say I want more, and I'm willing to do anything it takes. I'll listen to anybody, and I immediately go find a real estate mentor, and I tell David Bostic was his name, I'll work with you for free. I'll do whatever it takes. Please teach me. My question to you is, even though I am a loser and my harvest looks like it, that shift that happened towards the end, does that make me a fulfillionaire?
It does in some sense, yes, and I'll tell you why. I have found in coaching and in training and in my career as the national sales manager for multiple companies where you are somewhat of a coach and a trainer, that certain people are fulfillionaires, but they just don't know it yet. And one of the biggest problems I think we have in our world today is we have been lied to. And this is very difficult and hard for people to grasp, but in reality, it's the reason that 99% of the people out there are flat broke. They're living each month paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a life that serves them. They have a job and a life that really runs their life day to day. It's on that treadmill, as I call it, waking up at 8, going to work at 9, working at 5, and then, of course, taking the painkillers because you have to get back on the treadmill and go back to work the next day, and you look forward to the weekend as a place to escape. That's not a life, man. That's a living hell. And the problem, I think, in our world is that we have been trained to conform. We're all conformists. We're all swimming in the same direction. And the thing you have to realize as an entrepreneur or somebody starting a business is it's a very lonely journey. I remember when I was the young age of 23, starting my oil company, while most of my friends were out partying and trying to get their first job making $50,000-$60,000 a year, like the story you just shared. I was running a multi-million-dollar company at that age, had a lot of responsibility, had people on my payroll that were counting on me to pay them every 2 weeks because they had responsibilities to their family. And so what I say to people that, like you said, are losers, yes, you're a fulfillionaire, because if you have the burning desire and you have the tenacity and you have goals and you're ready to put action behind those goals and make those goals reality, you're living a much, much more compelling life because you're excited about the journey and you're excited about getting out of bed every day and you're excited about making shit happen than the other guy that's living life on the defensive, that has absolutely no idea what's coming out of left field and is literally 1 to 2 paychecks away from living under a bridge. And that's just reality, unfortunately, for most families. If you don't get that paycheck, 60 to 90 days, man, you're late in rent, you're getting evicted, and life is upside down.
That's facts. Yeah, that's facts. So let's keep going with this, because you're dropping some incredible nuggets. So let's go back to me again. I am a freaking loser. I'm telling you, I think self-awareness is a superpower. I was a loser. I absolutely was. It's only winning and losing, at least when you think like us, right?
Yep.
And there's no middle, right? The only middle is just pretty words that we use to create the illusion of not losing, stuff like that. Now, here we go. I literally tell David Boss I work for him for free, and I struggled from 2008 to 2012. I worked for him for free. I brought him $200,000 in the first year alone, just in real estate, and maybe another $200,000 next year. And he gave me in return $19,000 in real estate education. I still have him to this day. And of course, today I'm a multimillionaire. But before we even get there, can you walk us through, without me being as vague as possible, can you walk us through how in the heck doing something for free and then struggling that whole time, not seeing any results from it. How does that play into your philosophy? What nuggets can you drop us about where I am now to what I went through then?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a perfect segue and lead in.
BusinessLicenses.com has been simplifying the complex world of governmental business license compliance since 2004. They have helped hundreds of thousands of companies of all sizes, from the Cheesecake Factory to your neighborhood deli, and from the H&R Block to your local tax preparer. Business licenses are essential to everyday business. Many people don't realize that business license non-compliance can trip up startups. Heck, they even trip up running businesses. All over the country, you can find cases of businesses getting shut down, fined, and even business owners going to jail for not having all the business licenses and permits they need. License requirements are imposed by various departments on the federal, state, county, and city levels. Finding out what you need from each governmental office takes a lot of time, and you'll never know anything for certain. Good luck if you want to personally dig through all of the ordinances and codes to figure out which business license and permits you might need. It takes forever, costs you a ton of energy, and creates too much confusion. BusinessLicenses.com offers a number of solutions. At a minimum, you can get their business license compliance package, and this is how it works. You answer a few questions, and within minutes you receive a clear, concise summary of all of the business licenses and permits your business requires. Even greater is the fact that you'll get actual license applications, instructions, contact info, fees you need to pay, etc. In other words, you'll know what you need to get your business license and permits. As business owners, we are super busy to handle this ourselves, and who isn't? BusinessLicense.com has an even better solution. They offer the business license professional help for a reasonable price. They have a staff of business license experts who go through all of the specific licenses that you're required to obtain, prepare the applications on your behalf, and apply on your behalf where the licensing authority allows it. If the licensing authority requires you to send it in yourself, BusinessLicenses.com returns the prepared applications to you, signature ready, so that all you have to do is simply sign, date, and drop in the box. You'd be amazed at how many businesses have been helped by BusinessLicenses.com. They've assisted over 500,000 small businesses over the past 2 decades. They cover every jurisdiction in America, and they handle business licenses and permits for every industry.
I'm on the website right now. It's a pretty easy website to follow. On the right-hand side, you'll see, if you're on a computer, on the right-hand side, you'll see Let's Get Started. You're going to enter your city and your state, your industry. You get your license. You get the information you need to get your license. If you're on the cell phone, it's actually pretty easy as well. I got 4 simple steps. You tell them where your business is located. Step 2, you tell them your business activities. Step 3, their research, they will search for your business license. And step 4 is, it's time to go get your license. It's pretty good. I've had a wonderful time navigating to the website. I've already recommended it to a few of my friends. I believe in business licenses, and all of you listen to what Deanna's got to say, because she broke it down and she was helping some folk earlier today.
Go to businesslicenses.com/success right now and get started. As a matter of fact, for many business owners, there's an option to get the first deliverable, a detailed package of all their business license requirements for free, if they're willing to talk with our partner, Bank of America, about their business checking requirements. Again, that's businesslicenses.com/success to get started today.
To a wonderful story that I'd like to share with your
Please.
audience. I have actually trademarked something known as the art of Beliefology. We've got a trademark on that, so that cannot be used by any other coaches or trainers or authors. And the art of Beliefology, and what I write about in my first book, On the Wings of Eagles, Learning to Soar in Life, which is really just a compilation of messages and stories from my interactions with tremendous thought leaders in sports, business, and politics, people I've met or people I've heard speak as keynote, George W. Bush, Kevin O'Leary, Rudy Rudiger, Joe Namath, Fran Tarkenton, Magic Johnson. some heavy hitters, man, is that you have to really have conviction in your beliefs. But I am a firm believer that if you change your beliefs and you change your habits, you have the ability to transform and dramatically change your future. Your todays don't have to be your tomorrows. And just like you found out, being a loser today doesn't define you as being a loser in 6 months, or it doesn't define you as being a loser in a year. I mean, if you read the works of Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins says, man, I was living in an apartment, eating mac and cheese, not being able to pay my rent. And that was just the turning point in my life where I just looked at myself one day in the mirror and I said, I hate myself. I've got to change. And one of the things that I firmly believe is positive affirmations. Looking at yourself in the mirror daily and saying something powerful about yourself, because there's a tremendous connection that takes place when you do that. The words that I use to describe that is that when you look at yourself in the mirror, the words you choose to follow, I am, will define you. I am powerful, I am great, I am ruggedly handsome, I am whatever it is you want to say defines you. And so when I was in the oil business, I had my company. We were in Austin, Texas, in a very prestigious office building. We had most of the third floor surrounded by professional accounting firms, law firms. Prudential-based securities was on the first floor. And I was looking to hire somebody to get on the phone and reach out to prospective investors. So I put an ad in the paper. This was, of course, before the internet. And we got a bunch of calls and a bunch of resumes. And one day my receptionist said, Brad, Jeff is here for his interview. I said, great. And I went out, and there in my waiting room was a guy dressed in a pair of jeans that had holes in the knees. He had work boots that were covered in dust. He was wearing a flannel shirt, and he had hair that looked like Billy Ray Cyrus with a big Fu Manchu mustache. And when he went to shake my hands, his hands were really calloused. Now, for most people, the interview probably would have ended right there. And I looked at this guy, and I kind of laughed internally. Of course, I didn't let him know it. But, I remembered something that my grandfather taught me. It was a great life lesson. And he said, Brad, people might forget your name, and they might even forget what you do, but they will never forget the way you make them feel. Yeah, and so I shook the guy's hand, and I said, hey, come on, Jim, let's go back here to my conference room. And so we went back, we got a cup of coffee, and we sat there and chatted for about 20, 30 minutes. And I found out a little bit about him. He was a roughneck in the oil and gas industry, working out in West Texas in the fields, which explained the outfit and the calloused hands. But finally, I just looked at him and I said, tell me, why do you want to come work for me? And literally, he looked at me, eyeball to eyeball, and he said, it's because I want to give my wife and my daughter everything in life they deserve that we currently don't have. Now, as a husband and as a father at the time, I said, wow, this is a guy that I can mold. This is a guy that I now know what buttons I need to push when he's not performing. And so I said, come back to work next week. On Monday, he showed up. Now, mind you, he wasn't dressed much better. But I realized I've got to change the way this guy sees himself, because if he believes he's a different person, he will start taking on the characteristics and start doing the habits of successful people. So we went out and I bought him 2 new suits. Gave him a complete makeover like you see on TV, and started training him up. And a couple months later, as I was walking in my corner office, I passed his office, and he was on the phone pitching a prospective investor. And I just stopped and I watched him. He was wearing a beautiful Stetson felt cowboy hat. At the time, they were about $200 plus. Had on a nice shirt. He had on a big Texas rodeo buckle, the silver and gold ones, a Rolex watch that he had bought with one of his commission checks, and now wearing a nice pair of jeans with the crease going down the front of the leg, and an expensive pair of ostrich cowboy boots. And when he hung up the telephone, I just looked at him and I said, man, look at you. He said, Mr. Blazar, I can't thank you enough. He said, when you hired me, literally I envisioned myself being J.R. Ewing, and I remember you saying, whatever my mind can believe, it will achieve. And that year was a transformative year for this young man. He made close to $200,000. And so it gets back to what you had said earlier, is he wanted a better life. He was willing to bust his ass and basically come to work for a small salary plus the upside of commission. And just because your life sucks today doesn't mean it has to suck tomorrow. And that's really what I train on, is how to create the habits of successful people so that you can see a 30 to 50% increase in your success or in your sales over a 9 to 12 month cycle.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So I'm going to go into low level of awareness me. So we're going to go back to 2008, and I'm going to ask you a question from a low level awareness perspective. Brad, I've seen you raised over $2 billion for other companies. Why in the hell would you do that? Why would you not keep that money for yourself? Right? Why would you do
well,
that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you know, when I was in business as an entrepreneur, of course, with my own company, we raised millions of dollars from investors around the world. We, of course, were drilling for oil and gas. And then, as they say, the shit hit the fan. The Tax Reform Act in 1987 took away most of the incentives that people were counting on, so investment capital evaporated. Oil prices plummeted because OPEC had much greater control, and it roughly cost us about $11 to produce a barrel. We could only sell it for $9. And so I realized that was a pretty crappy business model to be in. And so over the course of about a year and a half, I, paid the creditors. I slowly dissolved the company, gave my employees severance, and I never had to file for bankruptcy. That really never entered my mind. As I explained to people, I did it the right way. We just slowly collapsed the company. And then I went back to school because I had not yet finished my undergraduate degree, because I realized there aren't many people out there that's going to hire a guy in his late 20s, early 30s lacking a college degree and pay him mid-upper six figures, which is what I was earning. And so when I came out of school, I did something that unfortunately most people never do. And this is a golden nugget to your followers. This is really, really, I hope everybody's listening, because this is one thing that most people never do. But if you do it, it is transformative. And what I did is I looked at myself introvertly and I said, what in the hell is Brad Blazar really, really good at? What will other people pay me to do? What is my hard skill? And what I realized was that I was damn good at raising money. I was good on getting on the phone and raising money, millions of dollars for myself. And so I said, man, I bet you I can make a nice living getting paid great commissions, raising money for other people. And that's when I entered basically the financial services industry, raising money for other issuers and sponsors, real estate developers, oil and gas, worked for some of the world's largest companies, closed record sales where I have some of the biggest sales for some of these companies, $11 million, $9 million, $7.5 million sales. Well, shit, where the commissions alone are more than most people make in an entire year. And so that's obviously spurred our mega producer coaching program, which is how we train people in sales to close these mega $1 million deals, and how to have the right mindset and what to say and how to say it and how to basically cultivate and get what I call big brass balls, so that you're not begging for the sale and you don't come across as overly desperate. But, that's something that most people don't do, is most people just get a job, but they don't really ask themselves, what am I really, really good at, which is a skill that other people would be willing to pay me money for. And so, like I said, I've raised over $2 billion. I made a great living doing it. I have invested in real estate myself and been very successful as a real estate entrepreneur, raising money for some of my own deals from partners and investors. And really now just teach others how to do that. If you're a real estate entrepreneur, you're in business, you need some growth capital, I'm the guy to be talking to, because I know how to get access to capital. And more importantly, I know how to talk to investors.
Wow. Okay. I'm so excited. Let me say, the capitalist in me is on fire right now. Okay. Let me just say, audience, I just want you to know that Mr. Brad here has done nothing but add value. That's all he's done. You didn't hear him say, go to my website or pitch my book, none of that stuff. Brad, I'm going to need you to put on your salesperson hat for me just for a second, okay? Because I need you to put it on because I need them to see how good you are. I need them to see it. So y'all take notes at how good this man is. And on top of that, let's take this program, this how to close on $1 million deal program and fundraising that you do us a favor and sell it to us so we can take notes on the great master that is Brad.
Well, I've done thousands of presentations for financial advisors over my career. One of the things that I have done in my career is worked with big real estate syndicators that are raising hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And so what we do is we create a network of investment advisors, brokers, registered reps that have access, of course, to clients and investors. And so I've been invited to come in and these guys will say, hey, let's do an event. I'll get some of my clients. We'll do a mailing. We'll get some accredited investors. We'll go to a nice restaurant like a Perry Steakhouse. And I say, great, we'll do that. Well, what I found in doing literally hundreds of those types of events is you get the same type of people. You get the investor that's got a 401k and has a retirement account, and they have a net worth maybe somewhere between $800,000 and maybe $1.5 million, $2 million. But you're not tapping in to really the affluent. You're not getting the guy that's got $5 million, $10 million, $50 million. Why? Because they don't go to those types of damn events.
No,
and so
exactly.
I asked myself about a year and a half, 2 years ago, what did those people like to do? And so what I started doing is hosting events to attract that audience. And so I said, those types of people like to go to things like polo matches. They like to go to exotic motor car events and get behind the wheel of McLarens and Lambos and Ferraris. They like to go hot air ballooning. They like to go on dinner excursions on private yachts. And so I created a company around that works with real estate people, works with people that need access to capital, where they can use me as a consultant, and we actually help them design these types of events and market these events so they can get in front of those types of people. The other thing that we've done in our coaching, which is our Build Your Beast coaching program, and then also the Mega Producer, is we put together a program that basically is 6 months, that over the course of these 6 months teaches you what I call 7 talents or 7 demonstrated capacities that we believe and we found most businesses and most entrepreneurs lack. Let's face it. When you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you are so closely tied to your damn business, you don't even see what you're doing wrong or what you could be doing better. It takes an outside person looking in to realize there are certain tweaks or certain things that you could be doing that literally would 5X or 10X your business. And so as an example, most businesses and most entrepreneurs lack a system to generate revenue from quality leads. They don't know how to have a tremendous lead generation system that every day, every week is putting in front of qualified leads. And so what we train on, and one of the things we coach on, is creating what I call the legacy selling system. It's a calculated and coordinated strategy to generate leads. So you've got your top 25. These are 25 existing clients that just love on you, that are referring business to you. You have what we call your farm club. Your farm club are basically people that have expressed interest. You have basically what I call your hit list. These are people that are on the fence that you've talked to. They just need a little push so that they can actually become customers. What we found is it takes 7 to 15 touches before a prospect becomes a customer in business. And unfortunately, most people give up after 3 or 4 touches. They never go the distance. And so that carries us to number 2. The second talent or capacity is what I call $1 million follow-up. That's how do you create these linear and non-linear touches and use the internet, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, email, to move that process forward so that you're gaining customers using this legacy selling system and now overlaying that with $1 million follow-up. And then the one thing that I found most people really fall flat on their face on is, like you said very early in the introduction, the law of attraction. I believe that there is a right way and a wrong way to attract customers. Unfortunately, most people do it the wrong way. When you go to a networking event, or you're introducing yourself to somebody that meets you for the first time and they say, Antonio, what do you do? Well, if you say something like, I'm a CPA or I'm an attorney or I'm a financial planner, it doesn't matter what the hell you're doing, you're commoditizing yourself. You're putting yourself in the same damn bucket as every other professional that person has ever met that does the same damn thing. And so when you use the law of attraction to introduce yourself, understanding people like to do business with people that have similar beliefs, when people ask me what I do, is I step back from the question and I say, before I tell you what I do, can I share with you what I believe? I believe everybody in life deserves to work with a coach, because people that are coached will outsell, outperform, and more dramatically, out-earn their peers. I believe if you change your habits, you can change your life. I believe as a business owner, it's better to look from the outside than the inside. Let me tell you now why I believe those things. And by understanding how to create what we call an explanation of service, you immediately become a person of interest that now utilizes that natural law of attraction where people want to learn more. And so in explaining what I do by leading with value, towards the end, I say people we work with typically see a 30 to 50% increase in their success over 9 to 12 months. If we could work alongside you, Antonio, is there any reason you wouldn't want to learn more or attend one of our free events? And 9 out of 10 times people say, absolutely, exactly. That's the answer we get. And so that's how you're able to turn the tables a little bit by understanding very simple things that super successful people do to go from being a loser to going to being a multimillionaire in a very short period of time.
That's it. Okay. So many different lessons in there. So I'm going to see if I can say, let's do this in this order. I'm going to see if I can rattle off some of the lessons I learned. Then you pick up where my brain would let me remember. And then I want to transition to how to commit like a pig. Okay, so here we go. I heard that the first thing that you need to do, well, let's not put them in order. I immediately heard you recognize that you had to figure out what the hell does Brad do. That's self-awareness, right? What do I do? Double down on what I do, forget what I don't know how to do. I also heard you, with integrity, take a loss and take care of the people inside those losses, so the law of attraction wouldn't come back and bite you in the ass. That's what I heard when you dissolved that company the way you did it. I also heard that you found the target audience that you wanted with the, not the 800,000 to 1.5 million, but the guys with the 5. First off, ladies and gentlemen, if you make less than $10 million, you're broke. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm sure Brad would agree with that. Millionaires in the middle class, less than $10 million, you're probably broke. But anyway, that was the sidebar. Okay. But I heard you know that those people hang in different places. And then I also heard you over-deliver at every single level of what you're doing. And then lastly, what you just said was you use the law of attraction to introduce yourself. Those are the lessons that I caught. Can you fill in some of the holes? Because I left plenty of the holes. What would you like to bring out in what you just said?
You're absolutely right. You know, you have to realize that you will move in the direction of the people you hang out with and you associate with. If you have 9 friends that are losers, guaranteed you're going to be the 10th loser. You know, Facts. I mean, that's just, you know, the fact of life. And so, you know, I tell people I'm selling 2 things, man. I'm selling painkillers and I'm selling vitamins. Let's face it, everybody wants a 6-pack abs, but very few people are willing to go to the gym. Everybody wants to eat, but so few people are willing to hunt. You know, growing to $1 million income and a 8-figure net worth ain't easy. The people that have done it will tell you if they didn't inherit it, man, they have hustled They have made sacrifices. They have busted ass. They've done anything and everything that they possibly had to do because it was a goal and they knew how important it was. Let me tell you something about having money. Having money goes way beyond material possessions. Yeah, I got a nice car. I've owned Porsches and Beamers and Jaguars. I've got a beautiful house in a country club setting. I live on the river. But let me tell you what money does. Money allows you, if you're generous and you have a big heart, to help other people. I've got a very good friend up in Dallas, Matt Monero. Matt runs 4 businesses that do over $1 billion a year. And he tells a story when he speaks about his brother-in-law that was over at the house one night with his wife, who, of course, was Matt's sister-in-law. They were watching a football game, and this guy fell asleep on the couch and all of a sudden just woke up in a sweat and grabbed Matt's arm. And Matt said, "Man, what? You have a nightmare?" He said, "No, man." He said, "Can I tell you something?" He said, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "I haven't even told my wife yet, but I've got cancer, and it's really, really bad."
Wow.
And Matt looked at him and said, "Wow, how bad?" He said, "Stage 4, man. The doctor said there's not much I can do." And he said, "The worst part about it, Matt, is we don't have any insurance." He said, "What? You don't have any insurance?" "No, man, we don't have any life insurance. And our health insurance sucks." And so, literally 6 months later, they buried this guy. And now, of course, Matt's wife, who was, of course, the sister of the sister-in-law, is bawling her brains out. Matt says, "I understand, obviously, that you're crying because we just lost, your brother-in-law, but, you're not the one that died of cancer." She says, "No, but I'm worried about my sister, man. Without insurance, she's going to lose the house. We're going to be living under a bridge.
Wow.
And I really care about her and the kids." And Matt said, "Don't worry." He wrote a multi-million-dollar check and set that woman up for life so that they did not have to sell the house, so you didn't have to worry about food and income and all the other necessities. Folks, that's what money can do. When I had my oil company and I was an entrepreneur, I woke up every day realizing I've got 30-some-odd people that are looking to me for a roof over their head. And with that comes tremendous responsibility. But when you're wealthy and when you have the ability to be philanthropic, it's time to give back. It's time to help others. And that is the beautiful thing about money. You look at all these rich people like Warren Buffett and Gates and Zuckerberg and Keanu Reeves and all of the charities and all of the things that they do with their lives. That's why you need more money. It's to help change our damn world because our world is, excuse my expression, fucked up. And the beautiful thing about having money is being able to sit down with somebody that's having a tough day, man. And, I'd get my shoes shined at the airport, and I was talking to the guy shining my shoes, and this dude must have been in his 70s. Most people at that age are retired. And I looked at him, and I said, "Man, what are you shining shoes for?" He said, "Because my grandson wants to be a doctor, and I'm trying to help him out." I gave that guy a $200 tip. And I said, "Buddy, this is for your grandson. I hope one day he becomes the physician he dreams to be." And this guy hugged me. And you could just see the expression on his face. But, that's the beautiful thing about working hard and about just, creating the abundance in your life so that you can do those transformative things. And that's one of the reasons that I love what I do now more than anything else. It's helping people that are losers become winners. And understanding that there is a beast inside each and every person out there. They just don't know it yet. And the great thing about coaching and mentoring is that we're able to see the potential inside of people that they do not see themselves. And we're able basically to get them to start believing in themselves, much like the story I shared earlier about Jeff who worked for me, so that they can start transforming themselves to become a better person. That's all, of course, the art of Beliefology, which is understanding if I change my beliefs and I change my habits, I can transform and become a better person.
Wow. Okay, Brad, I'm going to be obedient to the energy here. Forget what I was going to talk about with how to commit like a pig. Maybe it'll come back up. Let's just stay in this same energy.
You bet. Commit like a pig, man. I love that one. That is a great one. You know, and let me tell you what I mean by that, because I've got a whole chapter in the book that's titled "Commit Like a Pig," and of course, when I speak to that subject, "Commit Like a Pig." It's sad, but Harvard did a study, and I actually have read the study, and I've looked at the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 3% of the people take the time to sit down and write down their goals. You know, when you talk to people and you say, hey, man, you got goals in life? Most people don't. They have no idea what the hell they want. They just show up and go to work. They're living life on the defensive rather than living life on the offensive, having a plan, having goals and dreams that they actually commit to writing. There's something very important that takes place when you actually put your goals on a piece of paper. We refer to that as implantation, implanting that idea onto a piece of paper so it now is real, so that you can look at it and so that you can start asking yourself, that is a goal, what do I need to do to make that reality? The great analogy that I give, because my undergraduate degree was in architecture, is an architect in his mind thinks of a concept for a building and then makes a sketch in a notepad and then takes that sketch and turns it into a set of blueprints. And then a year and a half later, you're looking at a brand new building sitting out on the horizon. It's going from concept to reality. Goals are much the same way. If you never write them down and put them on a piece of paper, they never come true. And so one of the freebies and one of the things that I would actually like to offer all your followers is we have created a 13-page goal planning guide that explains to people the process of writing down goals. Goals have to follow 5 things. They have to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. We touch upon that in this free giveaway. And then at the end, we give examples of what goals should look like and then provide the tools so that your listeners and followers can actually put their goals in writing. But what Harvard found out is that the 3% that took the time to write down their goals out-earned the other 97% 10x. Think about that. The top 3 out-earning the other 97% 10x, when I read that, said, damn, I got to get me some goals and I got to put them in writing. Now, I'm also a big believer in having what I call a vision board. So when I'm going through magazines like the Robb Report and other nice magazines, I'm cutting out pictures and I'm putting them on my vision board so that they're staring me in the face every day, man, that new McLaren, that nice yacht, that beautiful vacation at the Ritz out in Hawaii where I'm out on the beach, man, all of those things are on my vision board, and I'm just the guy that's got the bucket list. But if you don't have those things that are inspiring you and that are driving you forward so that you ask yourself, man, why am I busting my ass so hard doing these things? It's because just like Zig Ziglar said, if you do the things that others don't, you will live a life that others won't. And so I firmly believe that successful people are people that live life on the offensive. They spend half the day Sunday planning for success the following week. They're putting together basically, much like a coach on a football team, a board saying, who are the people that I need to collaborate with? Who are the people I need to reach out to this week to be planning retreats and events that monetize themselves and are going to generate revenue? Who are the people in my farm club? Who are the people on my hit list? When they show up Monday morning, man, they got a plan and they know exactly what the hell they're doing. Where people on the defensive, they just show up. They have no idea what's going to happen. And, you know, they get a flat tire or the water heater breaks and all of a sudden now life's disrupted. They don't have that plan. And it's so funny, when I met Joe Namath, he shares a story where he and a couple of the other players are walking around the field. And Coach Bryant looks at him and says, Joe, you got a plan for tonight's game? And Joe says, yeah, I think so. And Coach Bryant yells out at the top of his lungs, you think so? Buddy, there ain't no think. You either know so or you don't. And from that moment forward, Joe Namath said he went into every game with a plan, man. He studied the defensive line. He knew exactly who he was going to throw to. He knew exactly how they were going to execute. He looked at that team's, reports over the last year to see what they did, how they played. And so he said, man, I went into every damn game after that one comment from Coach Bryant with a plan. And that's why I went down in NFL history as one of the best quarterbacks, and that's why we won the Super Bowl.
Broadway Joe.
Yep, you bet.
Yeah, I'm a huge football fanatic. As soon as you said Joe David, my ears pricked up. Yeah, sir. Well, Brad, I got 3 more questions that I believe.
Oh, I got to get back to the commit like a pig before we do that.
Yeah, man. No.
So I was touching. But here's the thing.
You're doing good.
Yeah, so here's the thing about the goals. So once you do that, man, you've got to be committed as hell. You know, when I wrote my first book, I said to myself, man, the first group of people that are going to go out and buy my book are going to be my mom, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, my siblings. Let me tell you, man, that ain't how shit happens. And the reason is that they looked at me and they saw me as a different person than the person that I now was becoming, which is an author, a speaker that's getting on stages of 300, 500 people, coaching and training others, being on the biggest podcast around the world, podcasts in Australia and down in Portillo, Chile, where I've got followers internationally now.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is there are going to be naysayers. When you start a new adventure in life, like a business or something that you're doing, there are going to be people that attack you, man. They're going to say, oh, let's give Antonio 3 to 6 months, and he's going to be hobbling back to us on his hands and knees. The reason they do that is because they're losers, and it makes them feel good to project onto you because now it makes them feel like they're a better person, when in reality they're losers, and those are the toxic relationships we talked about earlier. So when you commit like a pig, here's the message there. We get bacon and pork from pigs, and pigs are slaughtered in the process, which means they are totally committed because they're getting slaughtered in the process. A chicken, which produces eggs, is just casually involved because they lay eggs and they get to deliver another day. And so when I say commit like a pig, I'm saying commit like there ain't no tomorrow and there ain't no turning back, because that is the only way you're going to accomplish your goals and have the true success in life you so desperately desire and deserve.
Wow. Man, I know you have a podcast and it's doing well. It's the name of your book, right? It's what's the name of it?
On the Wings to Eagles, Learning to Soar in Life. It's available on it's available on Amazon. Your listeners and followers can go to Amazon. It's actually also recently been rated as the #1 rated book for young entrepreneurs. It's a funny story, but I came out with the book, and a good buddy of mine was going to go to Amazon and buy it, and so he was Googling it again to find out the name, and literally right up there at the top of Google it said, #1 book for young entrepreneurs, On the Wings of Eagles. He calls me. He says, man, did you know your book was #1? I'm like, what, #1 bestseller list? What? He said, no, man, #1 book for young entrepreneurs. I said, well, how did that happen? He said, I don't know. I'll send you a link. Sure enough, he did. And over in England, there's a huge blog where they were putting together a list of the top 10 books. My book was #1. And I said, man, that is phenomenal. So we started promoting that here in the U.S. to universities and other programs that cater to entrepreneurs and people in business. And obviously that's done extremely well. But if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in sales, you got to get a copy of the book. It's on Amazon. I think it's $19. You can buy it on Kindle. It's even less in digital format. But it is a transformative book because it gives you the mindset and shares the stories of some of these other great thought leaders like the Rudy Rudigers, the Magic Johnsons, the Joe Namath, the Kevin O'Leary. So you're not just learning from me, you're learning from them as well, because their stories are shared and intertwined with the stories that I share when I was the CEO of my own oil company. Now, the second book is not released yet, but I'll just introduce that because we are taking pre-orders. And it's called A Blueprint for Your Better Self. And A Blueprint for Your Better Self really is the roadmap It's the how-to book, because the art of Beliefology really just shares the concept, man. If you change your habits and you change your beliefs, you can create a more compelling future. And so people will get that book, and then they meet me at a speaking event, or they get involved in my coaching, and they say, well, I believe those things too, Brad, but how do I do that? How do I change my habits and beliefs? Well, that's what the second book, Blueprint for Your Better Self, is going to teach you. It's going to teach you step by step how you do these things to create the muscle memory in those habits to start moving forward in life and having greater success. A good example is, I got a guy I'm coaching. He was about 80 pounds overweight, and he needed to lose weight. And I said, well, it really comes down to beliefs about how you look at certain things in life, how you look at food, how you look at exercise, etc. And I said, just start by going out for a 30-minute walk one day. Do that a couple of days, and next week when you're out on your walk, look at the light poles or look at the telephone poles and just say, I'm going to jog from this pole to that pole, and then walk again, because you're not ready to go jog 5 miles yet. And every time you do that, just increase the distance a little bit more. Before you know it, you'll be running 5Ks. Well, this guy now has lost 60 pounds. We were chatting the other day, and he said, man, for the first time, I'm thinking of myself as an athlete. And I said, as an athlete?
Nice.
I said,
nice.
that's not an expression that a guy that was 80 pounds overweight often uses. But I said, now that is your new belief, you have to define yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror as an athlete and ask yourself, what do athletes do? And I said, once you ask that question, Steve, and ask yourself, what do athletes do, and adopt those habits, I have no doubt in my mind you'll shed those additional 20 pounds to get down to your ideal weight. And, buddy, you are an athlete, and you're transforming yourself and becoming the beast that I knew was inside you. And we become great friends, but it's really amazing when you start coaching and working with people, how you see the transformation taking place in their lives. And I believe a good mentor and a good coach really needs to do 3 things. The first is you got to support the person. You got to support them. And you got to be that person they can look to that is that good, positive relationship. The second is you got to encourage them. I believe people will always rise to the expectations and the level of those above them. I had a hard-ass teacher when I was in high school that everybody hated, and I hated her too. Mm-hmm. But now that I look back, she was the best teacher I ever had, because I busted my ass to rise to her expectations, to get the A's and the B's, and to prove myself and my worth to her. So the second thing, which is the E, is encouragement. Always encourage and nurture that person, because they don't see the potential they have. And then last is challenge. You got to challenge people to get outside their comfort zone and face their fears. And that's one of the biggest problems people have, is the self-doubt and the limiting beliefs. And a lot of that just comes from fear of rejection, fear of success, fear of the unknown. But let me tell you something. When you face your fears and then you prove to yourself you can do something, you become a far more powerful person, because you're like, holy shit, man, I just ran a damn marathon. If I can do that, there ain't not a damn thing I can't do, right? Or something like that. Or I just jumped out of an airplane. And so you face your fears, and in doing so, man, you become powerful. You become that beast that we coach on in our program that changes people so that they start seeing that there's really not much in life they can't do. It's just that you got to make the decision to take action, and you got to realize, I will figure the shit out after I commit, but I just got to commit and start the process of moving forward.
Man, I love that. So I'm going to say 2 things, and then I'm going to do something that I don't typically do. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, my assistant has already done massive research on Brad, so most of this stuff is in the show notes. Brad, if you don't mind, if you can have your assistant or your media team email over any link, free gifts, any link that you have, if you can just, if you want, whatever you want, we can send it over, and we'll put that in the show notes too. Then we can just totally bless people abundantly. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. You bet. We've made it so easy for people to follow me. I've got podcasts, and I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. There's a very easy way for entrepreneurs and business people to connect with others. And rather than saying, here's my Twitter handle, or here's my Instagram name, and here's my Facebook, there's a way to create a landing page that provides just one page that people can go to that has links to everything else they would ever need to see. And so for me, it's very simple, folks and listeners. You can go to the website myurls.co/Brad Blazar. myurls.co/Brad Blazar. And my last name is spelled BLAZ like zebra AR. You can listen to my podcast. You can check out the Build Your Beast coaching program. You can follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and more importantly, you can request a free copy of that Build Your Beast goal planning guide, which we will email out to you as a free download so that you can put your goals in writing and start taking action. But it just makes it real simple. The other website, of course, is just bradblazar.com, BLAZAR. You can order the book. You can check us out, become a follower, become part of our Beast community. And what I tell people is you don't have to hire me as a coach. Hell, you don't even have to buy the damn book, but become a member of our Beast community where you're now active in our Facebook group, because now you're connected to other success-minded people around the world, and you have followers, and you can reach out. A couple times a year, we have what I call the Circle of Influence Retreat, where I connect people with some of the greatest coaches and trainers from around the world, and we meet in places like Lake Tahoe. I'll be in Napa Valley, actually, with another group later in November, and then I'll be in Vegas at the Wynn at another mastermind in April of next year. The beautiful thing about joining these communities, people, is you become part of that community of other success-minded individuals. And like Antonio and me said, you're going to become the person you hang around with. And so if you surround yourself with friends and people that are millionaires and that are gravitating towards success, you're going to start moving in that same direction, and you're going to start breaking the habits of being a loser, and you're going to start seeing positive change in your life. And those are all just part of the process of transforming and becoming a better person.
Wow. So here's my one. This I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make one announcement, and then Brad, you got the rest of the podcast. You can say whatever you want to say, promote whatever you want to promote. You give for as long as you want. You got the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my announcement. I've never done this before. The first 100 people that email, and of course, I think the email is in the podcast, but info@BATSJR. I'm pretty sure it's in there. You email Brad's name, put Brad's name in the subject, and you ain't even got to spell it right. I will buy personally the first 100 of you. I'll buy the book on the wings of eagles for all of you. First 100 people. It's #1 rated book for young entrepreneurs. I will personally buy that book. In fact, all I'm going to do is go to Amazon, put your address in, and send it as a gift, okay? So I don't even need to write this email that day. I go to Amazon, I use my card and send it out to you wherever you are, and I let Amazon do all the shipping. But that's my commitment to you on this day. Never done that before, but I'm always obedient to what I would say energy. And I love what you're doing, Brad. So I just want to offer that. And, man, you got the last words, and it's on you, buddy. Whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, I'm out your way.
Well, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for doing that for your followers and listeners. That tells me that you are truly committed to what you're doing and to your purpose of running this podcast and building your community. And I will actually match that. We'll bump it up to 200, Antonio. So 200, the first 100 come on your Amex, and then the second 200 will come on mine. So let's sell 200 books here in the next week, folks, and push those out to all of you entrepreneurs and all of you salespeople and people that are starting out that just need some guidance and some help. The other thing I will tell you just in wrapping up is I was on one of the largest podcasts earlier this week out on the West Coast, a guy that is so connected. He runs multiple companies. He's built and scaled companies upwards of, hundreds of millions of dollars. And towards the end, he said, Brad, who do you
give him a
chase?
shout out if you want.
Well, yeah, Roland Frazier. Yeah, Roland Frazier out there on the West Coast, the War Room, Closing Table, Mastermind Digital Marketers. He's connected me with Kent Closure. I mean, He knows people like Dean Graziosi and Robert Kiyosaki and others.
Wow.
But he asked me, he said, you've had tremendous success. You're, a two-time author. You're getting on the biggest podcast globally. You're speaking on stages in great places like Napa and, Boston, Massachusetts. I was just up there at the High Performance Success Summit with some other folks. He said, who are you emulating? Who are you chasing? Who do you want to pursue? And I looked back before I answered to a video I saw of Matt McConaughey when he won the Academy Award. And he thanked God, and he thanked his family, and then he said to the audience, who am I chasing, folks? We got so many great actors out here in the room. And I basically stole from Matt McConaughey, and I said, the person that I'm chasing is a better version of me 5 years from now. And he said, man, God, what a powerful answer. He said, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. Always they say Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins or, Brendan Bouchard or someone. But he said, I love that so much, man, that you are chasing a better version of you 5 years from now. And I said, absolutely. I said, I've got a great life. I've got a life of abundance. I live in a beautiful home. I've been a real estate investor. I've raised billions of dollars. I'm well connected. But I said, I've got so much more that I want to do in my life. That's what pushes me. That's what drives me. That's what gets me jacked and pumped up. That's what's so fun about the life and the journey I'm living, that I want to pursue a better version of me and always be going through that self-discovery of surrounding myself with the best, of hanging out with the best. I'm flying out to Scottsdale, Arizona next week to spend time with two of the biggest super coaches in the industry, man. Rock Thomas. Wow. Rock is a self-made multimillionaire. Basically went on a personal self-development journey, spending hundreds of thousands studying with people like Deepak Chopra, Stephen Covey, Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, became a Tony Robbins trainer and worked alongside one of the best, hired Butch Harmon for 20 minutes and paid him thousands of dollars to get better at his golf game. And Rock said something to me that really resonated. He said, when I want to do something, I hire the best. If I needed heart surgery, would I go to a guy that just graduated? Would I go to someone like Dr. DeBakey, right? If you got important shit in your life, you seek out the best. And so I'm going out to connect with these guys and figuring out how we can collaborate and do some retreats together and introduce what they're doing to my coaching clients, et cetera, et cetera. But to your followers and listeners, don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses. Don't think, man, you got to have a Benz in the garage. You don't have to fake it till you make it to look good to other people. If you're struggling, that's fine. Show up in that beat-up piece of shit Nissan or that Hyundai or that Yugo. Be wearing the Timex or the Seiko until you can afford the Rolex or the AP or whatever watch you dream of. But here's the thing, folks. Ask yourself, am I improving? And instead of chasing others, chase a better version of yourself, because at the end of the day, when you look back on your life and you ask yourself, have I lived a life of fulfillment, and did I do all of the things I could have done to live an enriching life? You want to be able to say, yes, I did, to those important questions. And so with that, buddy, I will wrap it up, turn it back over to you. And this has been fantastic. I think there's a lot of great nuggets here, and I'm looking forward to treating your followers to 100 books, and I know you're looking to match that yourself. And I tell you, man, this has been one of the best podcasts I've been in a long time. I thank you so much for your time today.
I appreciate you. I've got nothing else. I'll be obedient, ladies and gentlemen. Take your love for me and extend that, impute that, push it on Brad. Please go follow him. Go to the URL link. Everything's in the show notes. After that, you can plant better. You can dominate.
I have felt so much in life. I've been so evil. I've done everything in life to mess it up. And I have. I have completely messed this life up. And then I changed. And then I started applying things that I didn't know, but I always knew. You call it the law of attraction. Or maybe you don't. Or maybe you're religious and maybe you're not. Here is what I know. I know that we all have a karmic debt to pay off. And I have either paid mine off or almost off. And now I dedicate my entire life to you. Please know that as my life is dedicated to you, it means I get beat up a lot. But that's what this is about. It is about people like me putting their gains at risk for you. The crazy thing about life is once we get enough, whatever enough means, if you're a politician, it's enough votes. Someone likes money, enough money, whatever enough is. A pastor, enough members, we tend to protect it. This podcast is not about protection, it is about you. I sincerely believe in you. I know you're going to be it. I know you're going to do it, whatever that is for you. There are no mistakes. I want you to share this podcast, but not for personal gain. I want you to share it because I am giving you my every being so you can turn around and do the same for others. I give away me, and then you give away you. I lower me so you can stand on my shoulders, and then you return the favor and you lower yourself so someone else will stand on your shoulders, and then voila. No one is lower than the other because we've all lowered ourselves. Finally, the music in this podcast that you're going to hear, I hope it gets stuck in your head. It's actually from my favorite movie, Cloud Atlas. It's a cover. It's not the original version, but it sounds just like it. Cloud Atlas is a great movie by the Wachowskis. My second favorite movie is The Matrix, but that has nothing to do with this right now. It is about repeating the same mistakes. And so I'm hoping subconsciously that as you repeat the same mistakes, Cloud Atlas is mostly about ascending from those mistakes. So I'm hoping the words, the music, the melody, everything helps you ascend to where you're supposed to be, which is where you've always agreed you wanted to be before you got here. I love you. This is the Secret to Success, Law of Attraction. I really, really know that this will be a blessing, a lifesaver to many people. Antonio T. Smith Jr., you can plan better. You can dominate.